I hate breakups, especially with fragrances. Today I'm going to be talking about 7 fragrances that I used to love in my collection that I have broken up with and really don't wear often for various reasons. So let's get started. First up, I have to talk about, I think, the most difficult one on this list for me that I have mixed feelings about whether or not I should even put it on this list, but I can't deny that I really haven't touched this fragrance nearly as much as I used to. Baccarat Rouge 540. This hurts my heart. Baccarat Rouge 540 was my first ever niche fragrance purchase. And I literally remember the day that I fell in love with this fragrance. I was going through my samples. I started to hear some hype about this Baccarat Rouge 540 fragrance. I bought a sample off of Lucky Scent. I was sampling a lot of other fragrances as well. And I kept getting this sweet, airy, little bit woody type of fragrance that would waft up to my nose throughout the day. And I remember being like, what is that? Which fragrance am I testing? Is it that is giving me that type of scent profile? And I eventually realized it was Baccarat Rouge 540, and I never looked back. I've literally worn Baccarat Rouge 540 for at least 5 years. This is my, I think, 3rd bottle. I have another one that I keep downstairs in my bedroom. I love Baccarat Rouge 540. And I even put up a video the other day, a short, talking about how I don't understand why people hate on Baccarat Rouge 540 and call it basic and are mad that it's so popular, because I think it's such an incredible scent. And I do still think it is such an incredible scent. But I think I'm just a little bit tired of the DNA because I personally have worn it for close to 5 years and I don't find myself craving it the way that I used to. It's still an absolutely beautiful fragrance. It's still an absolute masterpiece. And you ever watch a movie and you wish you could erase your memory and go back and rewatch that movie again just so you could experience it again for the first time, because the first time is the best time? That's how I feel about Baccarat. I wish I could take out those 5 years of wear and restart the clock so I could enjoy it all over again, because there are very few fragrances that I have loved and have had as much of like a visceral reaction to in a positive way as I have with Baccarat. So because it has such nostalgic value for me, because it was my first ever niche purchase, I will always keep a Baccarat Rouge in my collection. I will always have a bottle of it in my collection. This is not a fragrance that, even though I have so many dupes, that I would ever just not have the original as well because of what it means. But I mean, I've had this bottle now for, I don't know, maybe at least 6 months, and I barely touched her. So I think the proof is in the pudding that we are both seeing other people. Next up, we have another scent that I wore as a sample initially, fell in love with the DNA, thought that it was, again, another masterpiece. And for some reason, didn't have quite the same feeling once I actually started to wear it, for a couple of reasons, actually, not just for some reason. I'm talking about BDK's Gris Charnel. So like I mentioned, I got this as a sample first, also from Lucky Scent. Love the scent DNA, thought it was so interesting, so unique. And if you've never smelled BDK's Gris Charnel, this is a iris heavy tea fragrance is the best way that I could describe it. But in terms of what the actual scent profile smells like, the description that I give for Gris Charnel is always one of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. You know, the always depressed and mopey looking donkey? Is that what he is? Is he a donkey? I don't know. Somebody will let me know in the comment section. So I like to picture this as Eeyore, but imagine Eeyore in his overall mopey demeanor, but as a human. And Eeyore lives in a hotel because his family owns a bunch of hotels and they're all really wealthy, right? So you'll see Eeyore walking around this hotel, which is super bougie and it smells very luxurious, but he's so depressed and not happy with his life in spite of him being so rich and luxurious. And that's the smell of the luxurious hotel combined with his overall mopey demeanor. That to me is Gris Charnel. An expensive, bougie hotel that somehow manages to feel sad. And it's such an interesting, again, unique, masterfully made fragrance. But the problem that I have with this scent is a couple of things. Number one, that scent profile I find to be difficult to wear on a day-to-day basis because it really does make me feel like that. Like, this is not a happy scent for me, right? It's not a happy scent for me. It's not a sexy scent for me. It's not a, well, sometimes it can be a bit cozy, but overall it is, I'm a bougie, mopey scent. So the only days that I think to even grab this on is actually on a day like today when it's gray and mopey outside. Like the color of the fragrance, I think is very fitting for how it smells. A gray but bougie kind of scent profile. I wore this to work one day and I only sprayed it 5 times. And I had a meeting in my office. There's like 25 people in the room. And I kid you not, everyone was saying that all they could smell was this perfume. They thought it smelled like a man's cologne and that it was such a heavy, heavy scent. And then when I had another meeting later on that day, another one of my coworkers moved his chair away from mine because he said that the perfume was so strong. I was shocked because I didn't think of this as a beastly fragrance. This is a second reason though why I don't find myself grabbing it a lot. I'm not usually one who cares about what people will think about my perfume, but if it's gonna be that extreme of a reaction in like a small space, I've got so many other perfumes that I can just scoop up another one, right? I don't need to cause that much of a ruckus at the workplace if it's going to have that kind of reaction. Again, I only sprayed it 5 or 6 times, but apparently this is a very strong smell. And I think it's the iris with the black tea. It can just be very intense for some people. And so that combined with the gray mopiness of the fragrance, it's hard for me to find myself in a place where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to wear Gris Charnel today. Which is unfortunate because I do think it's a wonderful scent. But even now, just smelling it, I think it's one of those smells that I appreciate, but I'm finding it's not as wearable for me and my life and I guess the kind of feeling that I'm looking to evoke with my perfume. So this has just kind of been collecting dust on my shelf. I want to see if I change my mind on that. I want to see how I feel wearing this perfume and maybe another location. But right now, we're not really seeing each other either. The next fragrance that I have grown completely sick of is Lancôme's Belle. I don't even have a bottle to show you because I have completely broken up with that scent. I actually just threw away the remnants of the bottle that I last had. That was the perfume that I was wearing a lot right before I got Baccarat Rouge 540. And I still had the bottle in my collection. It probably had this much in it. And I just realized the other day, you know, it's been more than like 5 years with this bottle. I'm just gonna get rid of it. I never grab it. The smell makes me almost like nauseous at this point. I wanna get rid of it. I think when I initially got Belle, I was just in my phase of really still enjoying sweet fragrances. I still enjoy sweet fragrances. Like there's still a lot of gourmand fragrances that I like, but when I find a designer fragrance that just has a lot of the same safe type of DNA aspects to it, it's a safe fruity floral that is just very sweet. It doesn't have a lot of, I don't know, anything else going on for me, I'm no longer impressed. And I think I just wore Lancôme's Belle so much that it's a scent that, unlike Baccarat Rouge, I don't even understand why I liked it so much anymore. It's just so sweet and I'm so over it. It just feels so basic that when I smell it now in the air, because I'm so used to that DNA, I'm so turned off. So that is one that I'm breaking up with without any regrets, that I have no intentions of ever going back to. I can totally still understand why people like it, but for me, it has run its course and we are done. Next up, we have another fragrance from my youth years that now when I smell it, I have such a different experience with this particular scent. It smells completely different to me now. I'm talking about Viva La Juicy Gold Couture Blast from the Past. Okay, so this scent was like 18, 19, 20 years old type of precious. And this fragrance, even though I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't wear it anymore. Unlike Belle, when I smell it, I still enjoy it. I really do enjoy this scent profile a lot. This was, and this is still my favorite out of all of the Viva La Juicy fragrances. I love the caramel in this scent. This was like one of my first real, what I considered at that time, like my first real sweet, warm type of fragrances. It's still fruity, but it has a warmth to it to me because of the caramel note added in. Unlike the other scents of that time that I felt like were just very, very sweet, almost screechingly sweet. This one was like, ooh, cozy caramel. And I just loved the caramel so much. I wore the hell out of this fragrance. I cannot tell you the amount of bottles that I went through of Gold Couture. And again, I still think it is the best Viva La Juicy fragrance. It's just funny to me though now smelling it, even though I still like the scent, how light it is in comparison to back then. Back then I was like, oh, this is such a potent fragrance. They're gonna smell me all the way in heaven wearing this. I smell so good, oh my God. Now I'm like, this is so light and basic and like calm and tame. and very, very mass appealing, but like not overly anything crazy. But at that time, I thought this was like the Mona Lisa. A lot of times people will ask me in my TikTok lives, what's your favorite Viva La Juicy fragrance? Or what's a recommendation for someone who's younger? This is one that I frequently recommend. I still think it's a great, pretty, airy, caramel sweet scent that I think is going to be mass appealing to a lot of people. Next up, we have a fragrance that I recently broke up with just a few months ago because it was replaced by a fragrance from the House of Beau. I'm talking about the iconic Delina by Parfums de Marly. What can I say about Delina? I'm sure you already know everything you need to know about Delina, right? This is that iconic, classic rose fragrance that I feel had the rose world in an absolute chokehold. I don't know who didn't have Delina or some type of inspired by Delina fragrance on over the past few years. And even me, someone who's not the biggest floral lover, someone who's not the biggest rose lover for sure, will say that Delina is a masterpiece. It's a beautiful, feminine type of fragrance that I absolutely can understand why so many people like her, why she garners so many compliments. Like, it's a beautiful scent. However, I think that there are a lot of fragrances that have come out recently that either have been a blend of Delina or have just taken rose and done something that is not the same as Delina, different, but the kind of fragrance where if you like Delina, you might like this one even more. And now it just has me feeling like, I don't know if I really need you, girl. I don't know if I need you. So for example, Empatia by BDK. Empatia by BDK feels like a mashup between the Amouage Guidance fragrance with Delina. And I think for me, it makes it more complex, more interesting, more warm. So you get Delina, but also something else that just improves the DNA to me over the original Delina. Empatia is one that's been on my wish list, but I haven't felt the absolute need to purchase it yet, but it's on there. Would not be mad if someone were to gift it to me. Husband, looking at you. Moving on. The fragrance that I have purchased that is, to me, in that rose family that has completely replaced Delina is House of Beau's Juju. This fragrance. This came out, I think just a couple months ago. And wow, this is supposed to be their take on a modern day Marie Antoinette. You also get a little touch of Mexican vanilla in there. It opens up with some chili pepper and champagne. It's gorgeous. It's a much sparklier, that's a word, sparklier version and more like exotic and edgier take on a rose note, but it's still done in a very mass appealing way. So it just feels more interesting to me than Delina. I also probably have recency bias, right? Because I haven't been smelling this for years and years and years. I have been with Delina, if not on myself, then in the air because everyone wears Delina. So that's where I'm at. She's on the shelf collecting dust and I don't see her being revived anytime soon, especially as long as I have Juju with me. So next on this list is a fragrance that I have been in a relationship with almost as long as Baccarat, maybe a week apart. And very similar to Baccarat, I think we are just both getting tired of each other. We've outgrown the situation. I'm talking about Profumum Roma, Acqua e Zucchero. So this brand and this fragrance as well, I feel like is not very well known. I do not hear a lot of people talking about this brand at all, which is a shame because they make really great fragrances. They're Italian based, probably obvious from the name, and they make very high concentrated fragrances. They're one of the few brands that when you get one of their perfumes, they actually encourage you to rub it into your wrist because of how high the oil concentration is. You can do that. And this fragrance, I remember getting literally just a couple weeks after I got Baccarat because I got them both in the same sample set. And out of all the samples that I had gotten, these two were the ones that kept haunting me. And I actually loved layering them. You would think Baccarat was sweet enough, I would layer it with this. And it's a very sweet, of course, a very sweet orange blossom, a vanilla-y type of scent. It's a delicious scent. It's airy. It is potent. I love strong beast mode type of fragrances. It's still one of the strongest in my collection. Like Baccarat, it's one of those fragrances that because it was my second ever niche purchase and because this is my third bottle of this one as well, I won't ever not have a bottle in my collection. I will always have one, and it's a fragrance that sometimes I'll just go and spray just because it's so cozy and so sweet and delicious, but I just have worn it so much. I've worn it so much that I'm tired of it. And this is actually a fragrance that started to make me realize that I don't love orange blossom all the time. I can tolerate it in some fragrances when it's really, really well blended and it's not a dominant note. But when I can really pick it out, I don't really like it. And so I've always felt, even from the beginning, that I had to overlook the orange blossom in this fragrance. I liked the overall fragrance enough that I could overlook it. But I think the orange blossom has also made it easier for me to kind of stray away from it. So she's still beautiful. Definitely one that I'd recommend trying out if you're looking for an airy, highly concentrated, sweet fragrance from the house of Perfume Roma. Fantastic brand. Cannot say enough good things about them. This fragrance actually is the fragrance that made me start watching the Perfume Guys videos, because he was the only person on YouTube that was talking about this brand, and I was like, all right, this is my guy. Would still recommend checking it out if you want to try out a sample from Lucky Scent. They have a ton of them, a lot of great fragrances from the house, but not one that I'm grabbing. So that felt therapeutic to get out. I feel like I've never actually spoken those words to these bottles before, so I feel good about it. I feel less guilty now. Let me know, guys, what are some fragrances that you used to be in love with that you are no longer wearing for whatever reason? And I will see you guys tomorrow for our next episode.